Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, developed and published by Ubisoft and released in 2003, is a superbly made game that combines both a compelling story in conjunction with fun gameplay. You take on the role of an unnamed prince, as he and his father along with his army raid Mahadra city due to the assistance of Vizier, and soon discover the two artifacts called the Dagger of Time and the Hourglass. Along the way, they decide to stop at the Azard Palace to present the Sultan what they've achieved, but when Vizier deceives the prince into unlocking the Hourglass, the Sands of Time are released, turning the people into monstrosities, and it's up to you as the prince to undo what he's unleashed. The story of Prince of Persia is one of the reasons why the game is riveting. For starters, the prince is a likeable character. While his attitude does come off as ignorant as he seeks to pursue honour and glory, but as the story develops he becomes more self-aware of the mishap he caused and starts to question his original motives. Not to mention he also narrates the story as you progress.
From the moment my sword tasted blood, I knew this would not be my way. I would win my father's praise not by killing, but by being the first to find the Maharaja's treasure vault and the wonders within.
Farah, who you form an alliance with, is also a compelling character, as she is charismatic and knows what the prince and herself are facing, but at the same time she is not afraid to take the situation in her own hands. Furthermore, the prince and Farah convey a sense of distrust to one another, but as the narrative develops, their chemistry and affection becomes more apparent. Overall, the story may be simple, but the developed characters make each plot point engaging, and I like how it throws in the odd humour now and again.
Look, a crack!
Wait, let's see where this corridor goes. Alright, you can take the crack.
As for the gameplay, Prince of Persia is split up into combat, puzzle solving and platforming. Earlier in the game you get the Dagger of Time, which has the ability to freeze, slow and reverse time itself, but this is governed by the sand you obtain either by finishing off downed enemies or by using the sand clouds that you'll discover along the way. You'll face a variety of enemy types, therefore preventing the combat from being stale. However, regardless of what you encounter, having the ability to manipulate time whether to gain an advantage or the ability to cheat death, the combat is flawless and entertaining. After all, what's so fun of freezing multiple hostiles and taking them out in quick succession? The dagger isn't restricted to combat situations. Throughout your journey you'll have to navigate platforming sections, and since you'll face a variety of traps such as stake pits, saws, spinning blades and so on, the platforming is both challenging yet satisfying. Moreover, if you make a mistake you can rewind time and try again, but you'll use one of your sand tanks in the process. You gain more as you progress, but since the enemies become more varied and challenging later on, you have to decide when it will be appropriate to use them. Should I use them in a specific platforming section, or shall I keep them at the ready when I face a large amount of hostiles? Fortunately, there are many save points throughout the game. These not only allow you to save your progress, obviously, but they give you hints of what you need to do as well as foreshadowing future plot points. Also, there are many opportunities where you can replenish your health either by drinking from fountains or from shallow pools. Not to mention you can increase your health bar, but you'll need to find the hidden areas located within the levels. The other part of the game is the puzzle sections. These areas are well varied, and in some cases you may need Farah in order to overcome them, plus in some cases the game will mix the platforming and the puzzles together. Despite it was a game from the 6th console generation, the presentation overall is fantastic, especially with its HD upgrade. The environments are well detailed and capture the Persian tone, especially with its soundtrack composed by Stuart Chatwood. The voice acting is superb despite its small cast, and the animations both in game and in cutscenes are flawless. While the game does many things right, I do have some minor complaints. For starters, unlike the other characters, I thought Vizier wasn't as fleshed out, and the final confrontation was a bit disappointing for me. Also, since he wants the dagger for his own personal gain, you think the weapon would become a factor, but instead it just comes off for you slashing away at him until he dies. Finally, I think the game was a bit too short, as I was able to complete my playthrough under 6 hours. Maybe if the main villain had more screen time, considering you only see him for 10% of the game, then it probably would have resolved this issue. Otherwise, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time is an outstanding game that has a riveting narrative, fun gameplay, superb voice acting and an immersive presentation. It may be short, but it's both entertaining and a classic. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time gets a score of 4.5 out of 5.
Wait! I don't even know your name.
Just call me Kakolukia.